In a city called Baina, the World Championship ceremony begins in front of a huge number of people and in the presence of the head of state, and the Prime Minister presents the two participants and tells them that the winner among them will face Princess Nashatania, who won the last championship. While he is speaking, a strange man interrupts and introduces himself. I am a Duret Mayor and I am the strongest man in the world, and he continues sarcastically, what do you think we changed the rules and you two fight me together? So one of the participants orders his followers to kill him. A Duret attacks them all with needles, and suddenly they all fall. And we find that the participants in the fight could defend themselves and attacked him, and a Duret managed to dodge and pulled out a belt full of explosives and threw it at them. And as soon as the air filled with smoke, the people's voices rise saying this must be magic. And a Duret attacks the first one who could catch him, but a Duret had prepared a bomb and threw it at him and managed to hit him and break his arm, and the second is injured because a Duret attacked him with poison needles. And he addresses the president and the people, you believe that I am the strongest man in the world. I hope the forces of good choose me among the 6 braves but he does not get to finish his words because the soldiers attack him and manage to capture him and he is imprisoned. In prison, the Prime Minister tells him you ruined an important world championship where the strongest around the world compete. I will not forgive you, and your punishment will be severe. Suddenly a girl enters and tells him, finally I found you. You are a Duret, right? I saw the way you fought in the championship and you were amazing. I am really impressed by you. And she extends her hand through the bars and says, can you shake my hand? He is surprised by her and tells her, your request is very strange but I will do it for you. And he shakes her hand. She tells him, you are nervous for sure because you are scared. He replies, impossible, I am the strongest man in the world and it's impossible to be scared. She laughs and tells him, I am happy I reached you. What do you think we talk a little? Because I want to know you. So he introduces himself, I am 18 years old and I am from a town called Wero. And when I was 10 I traveled to live with my master in the mountains and I was training every minute so I could defeat the great monster. And the way he taught me to fight was aimed only so I could kill the great monster. And he taught me that I must do anything to reach this goal. She asks him, and why do you call yourself the strongest man in the world? He replies, because it's the truth, no one can deny it. She responds, but you haven't defeated Princess Nashatania yet. He tells her, I wished she appeared, but anyway I am stronger than her. She tells him, but surely there are many people stronger than you. He tells her, surely there are many strong people but not stronger than me. I am sure of that, and surely the forces of good know it, and I am doing my best to let the world and the great monster know that I am the strongest in the world. And he asks her what happened in the championship. She tells him the fight was repeated again last night but the winner lost easily against the princess because of the injury you caused him. And she asks him, why are you insisting that you are the strongest man in the world? He replies, because if I am the strongest man in the world then surely I will be one of the 6 braves. That's why I came to the championship. And he asks her, do you know the story of the Princess of the Flower? She replies, of course, who doesn't know the princess's story? And she tells him 1,000 years ago when the great monster appeared and started attacking people and killing them, then began splitting itself into other monsters that killed many people. And then all the soldiers were defeated and people lost hope and accepted reality. But the Princess of the Flower appeared and could seal the monster in the west of the continent. But she warned that it is not dead, it is only sealed, and any day it might return again. And then there will be 6 of you who will carry my power and will be able to seal it again. A Duret continues and says, and these 6 must prove their strength in the world championship before the people and the president and the minister. And the first time the monster appeared was 700 years ago and the 6 braves defeated it, and the second time 300 years ago. And since many monsters have appeared recently, the chance that the monster will appear within a year is high. And that means there is not much time left until I am chosen among the 6 braves. She asks him, do you know the knight Hadora? He replies, of course I hear about him and know he is one of the best archers in the world. She tells him he and some of the strongest knights around the world were killed and the monsters appearing are killing the strong ones who could potentially be among the 6 braves before the great monster returns. He tells her, but if they could not defeat the small monsters surely they would not have been able to defeat the great monster. She continues speaking, the prisons here are very strict, do not escape because this is the safest place for you at least until you recover. He tells her, strict guards how, and a maid like you managed to sneak in and enter. She laughs at him and tells him, I have to go otherwise they will get angry with me. He asks her if she sees the princess to tell her that she will surely be among the 6 braves and let her know I will be with her. She agrees and leaves, and a Duret notices that his hand smells like apple but he ignores it. The next day the prime minister sentences him to life imprisonment and they move him to a prison in the desert underground, and in prison he notices a sword and an apple and knows they are from the princess, and he spends his days in prison trying to fill his emptiness, so he trains and counts the days in boredom. And after a long time when he is fully recovered he says to himself, maybe now I should think about escaping from here. Suddenly the great monster awakens and the sky turns red and its roar fills the world, and in prison a light appears to a Duret and the mark of the flower appears on his hand, and he hears the voice of a girl screaming at the guards and approaching the prison and introducing herself, I am Princess Nashatania and I was chosen to be one of the 6 braves, and she is the same girl who visited him in prison. And she takes out her staff and Adoret's sword turns into many swords destroying the prison, and she tells him, as I promised we will fight together. So he gets out and finds her preparing the horses and they set off and manage to escape from the guards. And she asks him, now where will we go? He tells her, first to my hideout, then we will head to Greenbrier, which at its end is the land of the great monster, because the rules say we gather at the entrance of the monster's land. When they arrive at Adoret's hideout he takes many bags and they continue on their way, and they notice that the soldiers surrendered and stopped chasing them. On their way they meet fruit and vegetable sellers. Nashatania takes from them without paying, so Aduret pays instead of her, and he asks her, is this your first time seeing orchards and farmers? She replies, yes, this is my first time. I thought fruits are made with the plates because I was isolated from the world. He tells her that's an expected answer from the princess of Baina, and they decide to take a break from the road. And she shows him her fighting skills and cuts the fruit with her small swords without touching it, and she asks him, have you met a princess before? He replies, I met one, but she was strange and hated being a princess, although she was chosen to carry the forces of good, and many others try their hardest to take her place. She asks him, and you too wish to be in her place? He replies, why would I envy a princess? Besides, this is a position for ladies only. Does that mean the forces of good like ladies more? She laughs at him and tells him, I will try to use this power in the best way possible, and attacks him with her swords. But he manages to dodge and shouts at her, so she apologizes and tells him, I am always strange and excited, and the maids are always angry with me, and my father rejects me because of my personality. And she asks him, am I that annoying? He replies sadly, no, you are not that annoying. She laughs at him and tells him sarcastically, you really believed I was upset? You are so stupid, Aduret. It's hard for me to give up and be sad like that. Don't worry about me. They continue on their way, and Aduret is still angry with her, so she asks him, don't be mad at me. I am sometimes silly, but only when I get excited, otherwise I am very calm. He tells her, I hope you know that we are heading to fight the great monster. You must be a reasonable person. She tells him, this is my first time being in a situation like this, and it's new for me to be with someone like you. So he gets embarrassed and stays silent. At night they decide to camp, and she tells him, 6 years ago there was a war in Baina. Do you know anything about it? He replies, I was busy training in the mountains. She tells him, I will tell you, my father was accused of causing the civil war, so he is just a puppet and has no power, and the prime minister holds all the authority in the country, and my mother and older brother left. I remain the only one from the royal family, and we have relatives but in lands far from us. So he interrupts, surely they don't want anyone to cause them a civil war. She agrees and continues, I wanted to talk to someone equal to me in rank, anyone I could just talk honestly about what I think, and for me you are the first person I can talk to, Aduret. He tells her, I am only dealing with you because you are a brave comrade to me, and he throws her a blanket and says, the weather at night is cold, use it when you sleep, besides you will sleep outdoors and the ground will be hard for you as a pampered princess. She laughs and tells him, don't worry, I am used to it, because in the civil war my father decided to execute me, but that was before I entered the championship and became a bearer of the forces of good. And then I escaped for a very long time, and at that time I only wished to sleep without fearing death, and I am ready to repeat those hard days all again just to save the world. So he laughs and tells her, we will move early tomorrow, go sleep. The next day Aduret wakes and finds she woke before him. She calls him and tells him, look how beautiful the sky is. It looks nice and peaceful, although the great monster woke. He tells her the sky will not stay peaceful if we lose. She replies, then we must give our maximum effort. As usual he gets embarrassed and stays silent. They continue their journey, and on the road she tells him Goldoff, the leader of the knights in Baina, traveled on a mission searching for the killer of the braves, and the last message that reached from him had only one sentence, and it was that there is no evidence, and the last 6 weeks no message came from him. So Aduret tells her maybe he was killed. Nashatania gets angry, impossible, Goldoff is very strong. He replies, but he only reached the finals in the last championship. She tells him, because he went easy on me, and that is the most frustrating thing in my life, and I promised him that I must return that humiliation. So I always wish he doesn't die, and he is really strong but still young. So Aduret tells her, we are 18 years old. I don't think the difference is big. And he asks her, do you have any other victims you feel died or were killed? She tells him the Princess of the Sun. Aduret is shocked. How? I heard she is very strong and could destroy her enemy's castle with rays of the sun. She replies she is very strong, but she is too old to be one of the braves, so surely the one who killed her wasn't thinking of her as one of the possible 6 braves. Aduret reassures her, surely in the end we will reach the person who is trying to kill them, and surely we will have to fight him. Once they reach the bridge, he tells her after the bridge we will be in Gwynbear, and right after it the land of the great monster. And the most important thing is we must hurry because we took 10 days to reach here. When they enter the city the people are fleeing from it, so Aduret warns Nashatania the enemy will attack us any time, because they want to finish us before we gather, and one of the last 6 braves was killed this way. Nashatania is surprised, so he tells her, my master taught me everything about the monsters and about all the past battles and their weaknesses and even their possible moves. And he notices she is scared, so he calls her, but she is drowning in her fears, so he keeps calling until she hears him, and he asks her, why are you scared? She tries to answer but cannot speak, so he tells her, don't be scared and smile. And he tries to make her laugh with silly moves until she laughs, and he tells her, this is the first thing my master taught me, and it is to laugh when I am scared or nervous. She tells him, surely you were trained by a great man. And suddenly they meet a father and mother and their daughter trying to escape, and they tell them the monsters are chasing us, and the rest could not escape. So Aduret orders the princess that they move, and he says to himself, surely we are their target, but we must save the villagers from death. and when they reach the village they find the monsters attacking the villagers, so Aduret tells her I will distract them and you kill them, and indeed the first one he throws a bomb at, and as soon as the smoke fills the place she kills it with her swords, and then she notices someone escaping far away. A monster attacks her but she is nervous and cannot move, so Aduret kills it, and he tells her you are amazing, I can't believe this is your first fight. She tells him no, the credit is yours, without your help I would be dead. She asks him you asked me to be behind you because it's my first time. He replies I asked you just to be in your right place. So she shows signs of happiness and tells him from now on I will try to be useful to you. They check on the villagers, and one of them tells him there is a girl we could not save, so Aduret orders Nashatania to get ready so they will rescue her, but Nashatania objects and grabs him strongly, and tells him we can't because we are only two, and we won't be able to save everyone, we must continue our way, either we save people or we kill the great monster. I know it's hard but this is our main mission or all humans will be killed. We must move to meet the rest of the 6 braves, so he agrees with her, and as soon as she lets him go he rushes to the village shouting at her defeating the monster with saving people is what will make me the strongest man in the world. Nashatania tries to catch up with him but monsters attack the villagers and block her way. When Aduret reaches the city he finds many monsters killed and notices they were killed by bullets, so he continues searching for the missing girl, and he finds a girl with white hair and a gun trying to save the remaining dogs, and she tells them the monsters kill humans only, run, and she notices Aduret, and he is standing nervous and trying to gather his words and asks her do you love dogs? She replies I love dogs and I don't love humans. He tells her but I love both. And he gets closer to her, so she raises her weapon and asks him who are you? He notices the mark of the 6 braves and tells her I am Aduret Mayor and I am also one of the 6 braves like you. She tells him and my name is Free Me. He asks her to lower the weapon, but she shouts at him no and shoots the first bullet at him. So he dodges it, and he gets angry at her and tells her what are you doing, I am with you. She tells him and that's why I'm asking do you want to kill me? Nashatania has killed all the monsters, but her horse died, so she is sad about it, and she hears the sound of a horse, so she thinks it's Aduret, but discovers it is Goldoff who bows to her and tells her I'm sorry for being late, I came to help you, but she objects I was chosen by the forces of good, so you can't protect me. He shows her the mark of the 6 braves, and continues I will protect you even if it costs my life. She tells him now you and I are among the 6 braves, so you and I are work comrades, and each of us must protect the other. He tells her but you are a princess, you must not get hurt. She asks him have you found anything or have any new news about the one killing the braves? He replies I could not reach her but I have sure information about her. She is a girl with white hair and a gun, and her name is Freeme. And in the village Freeme tells Aduret, I heard your name before, you are surely the coward who was in Banis championship, and they say you are a vile person. He replies my use of all killing methods is not cowardice, I am not a cowardly fighter. She asks him where is the one with you? He replies Nashatania princess of Bana was near me but we got separated. She tells him tell everyone with you that I am Freeme princess of gunpowder I will kill the great monster alone, but I will not block your way, and she lowers the gun and runs away. So Aduret chases her, and he notices she is very fast and used to tricks and maneuvers, and he manages to catch her but with difficulty. She tells him I can't believe someone could catch me, but why are you chasing me? He gets angry at her because you are stupid, you can't kill it alone, we the 6 must be together. She tells him if you want me to prove I can kill it alone, I can prove right now. He draws his sword and asks her why do you want to kill it alone? She replies because if I fight with you there is a chance I get killed. He asks her why you say that? We will all fight together. She replies if you want to hear the reason then fight me first. But if you don't want then go now, because if I tell you the reason you will kill me, decide now. And he puts back his sword. She tells him I hope not to meet you again and runs, so Aduret takes a breath and throws a bomb at her, and from inside the smoke he attacks her and manages to steal the bullet bag, and tells her I will go with you, now you must decide to kill me with the single bullet you have or you won't be able to do anything, and then I will escape with all the bullets. And I know everything about guns and know that you without bullets are nothing, and I also know you are heading to the monster's land and that you fear the other braves seeing you, and because I am the strongest man in the world I decided I will save you, enough stubbornness and let's continue our way. And he turns his back to her with full confidence, and she cannot shoot him and says to herself what's wrong with him. And Nashatania and Goldoff are facing monsters on their way but Goldoff is much stronger than her and he is the one defending her, and when he kills them all he reassures her. She replies firmly I'm fine, and they find Aduret's horse returned with a message for Nashatania and its content to Nashatania. I met one of the 6 braves and will continue the way with her. Continue your way. Goldoff asks her from whom is the message. She replies from Aduret Mayor. You surely heard what happened in the championship. He is a good and reliable person. He tells her even after he abandoned you. She ignores the question and tells him we must continue on our way, and they set off. On the way he tells her I heard he acted cowardly in the championship and was a deceitful person. She tells him no, he is a good person, and I'm happy I left the palace with him. I have never met someone mysterious like him before, and also I feel very happy when I annoy him. Goldoff tries to tell her something but cannot speak. On another path Aduret is trying to talk with Freeme, and he tells her I don't know what happened to make you like this but I am determined to protect you. She tells him shut up and walk because you annoy me like that, so he changes the subject and tells her my master taught me that guns were made 30 years ago but they were too weak to kill monsters, so did someone make a gun especially for you to kill monsters? Or is that because you are the princess of gunpowder? Also this is the first time I hear about you, where is your country? And he looks at her and tells her answer my questions. Do you think I am stupid? She tells him no, you are reckless and stupid and out of control. And she asks him if you worry about Nashitania why don't you return to her? He replies I'm not interested in Nashitania, I care about you more. She continues I didn't believe that Nashitania was chosen and that's why I don't expect anything from you all. He objects Nashitania has little experience but she is a great fighter. She asks him after the mission ends fight me. But be gentle with me and don't kill me. You can wound me but don't kill me. They arrive at the nearest place to the monster's land, and he tells her that red color is the monster's poison and if it touches anyone he dies within a day, except the 6 braves because the forces of good protect us. And he notices the weather getting hotter, so he asks her do you have information about the reason? She replies I don't know but if I meet any of the 6 braves I will run away. So he throws her the bullet bag calmly and continues on his way. And once they arrive a Durette calls is there anyone from the 6 braves arrived? A soldier in the fortress replies the braves arrived 2 days ago and left, and they open the entrance gate, and when he enters the soldier tells him everyone in Guimber died, and only some soldiers remain, but we will defend to the last man. So a Durette asks him what exactly are you defending? He tells him inside this fortress the leader of Guimber prepared for you weapons to fight the monsters, because they are coming from all over the world to kill you, and surely you face some of them. And the leader developed a way to seal the monster permanently, and this method was contributed to by the Princess of Mist and the Princess of Illusion and the Princess of Earth. And I will tell you details first. Most monsters cannot cross water, so if we trap them in a certain area they can't reach you, and that will be through the illusion barrier you will create in a castle surrounded by the power of the Princess of Earth, and the Princess of Mountains Mora, and she is one of the 6 braves, and once you gather send us a signal and I will go to the castle and activate the barrier. But if we lose here before you gather we will send the signal to you, and then one of you will go to the castle and activate the barrier, and then that person cannot enter the monster's land. And the way to activate the barrier is by placing the sword in its place and your hand on the panel, and ordering activation. So a Durette interrupts him and says but this is your mission and you will do it, and he extends his hand to shake his. The soldier thanks him and says I will do my best. And they start their journey and the soldier tells them if you continue on your way without stopping you will reach the meeting point in 3 hours. And on their way a Durette says now Mora and Nashitania will be there and it's hard for us to pass without them noticing. So Freemy tells him be quiet because I'm thinking what I will do, because if I meet them we will fight. He tells her we are supposed to be one team and must unite together to defeat the monster. She tells him you are a strange person. He replies I don't know if that is praise or not but I will help you anyway. And she suddenly stops and asks him you are a good person right? He replies shyly maybe. She screams at him and that makes me want to kill you. And suddenly someone attacks Freemy so he saves her and they discover it's Nashitania. So a Durette shouts at her what are you doing? She replies Nashitania get away from her we must kill her. And Goldoff attacks Freemy so a Durette blocks him. And Nashitania attacks Freemy but she can dodge the attack. So a Durette gets angry at them and orders them to stop fighting. Freemy tells him why are you surprised? I told you if we meet we will fight each other. So a Durette shouts at them enough, she is one of us, she is also one of the 6 braves, and he takes her hand and raises it. So they are shocked and Nashitania tells him that Freemy was the one killing the potential braves, and this information is certain, and Goldoff confirmed it himself. So Freemy admits and says she is right, I killed them and Goldoff too was on the list. But I never thought of you a Durette, and she raises the gun and aims at him. So he asks her about the Princess of the Sun. She replies I don't know her and she was not on my list. He asks her why did you do that? She replies to bring back the great monster, and since I killed all the strong ones, only weak ones remain for the forces of good. So Goldoff and Nashitania attack Freemy but a Durette stops them. And he continues since you tried to bring back the great monster why now you want to kill it alone? And how did the forces of good choose you to be one of the 6 braves? That means you are now an ally to us. So Nashitania gets angry are you going to defend her? He replies I believe in her and I will defend her and if you still insist on making her your enemy then I am with her. So Goldoff gets ready to attack a Durette, but Nashitania orders him to stop and tells him if this is Adurette's choice then I am with him. So a Durette orders Freemy to lower the gun and he tells her no one will kill you. She replies coldly for now at least but I will warn about you, and she lowers her weapon. So Nashitania tells her I don't trust you but I trust a Durette. So Freemy tells her you trust this stupid man, you are a naive person. So they decide to continue their way and Goldoff takes out the map. So a Durette asks him you have a map of Guimber? He replies of course I have it because I traveled the whole continent searching for the killer of the braves. So a Durette asks them about the horses. Nashitania replies they died while we fought the monsters, and they prepare to move. So a Durette tells Freemy I saved your life, aren't you going to thank me? She ignores him and walks. So Nashitania catches up with him and tells him seems like you two got to know each other in the last 12 hours. Freemy is very beautiful right? You are the type of man who loves girls who look like they need saving, and you are happy saving them. and she walks away and leaves him, so Goldoff blocks him and asks how did you convince the princess? He replies I know I am helping someone who was killing the Braves and you were on her list. But I know what I'm doing. But you are worried about my harmony with the princess, right? Anyway, don't worry. What you think is not true. And he laughs and continues, and on the way I and the princess talked a lot and she depends on you. So try to protect her. Goldoff replies anyway I'm the only one who can protect her and walks away leaving him. While they are on the road they are very silent, and suddenly monsters appear flying with explosives throwing them at the castle. So they rush to defeat them before they destroy the castle. So Nashitania asks Freemy slyly you are the princess of gunpowder, right? What is happening here? Freemy replies I have no information, and suddenly monsters surround them from every direction. So Nashitania orders Goldoff to attack them, but one of the monsters sends a signal to the rest, so their number increases and they all fight the monsters and take them down one by one. So the princess asks Aduret to head to the castle to save the guards there, so he rushes to the castle while they protect him from the monsters' attacks. And as soon as he reaches the castle he finds the guard on the ground and tries to save her, but she tells him hurry to the castle, there is no time. So he goes to the door and finds it locked. He asks her about the key, she doesn't answer, so he blows it up, and as soon as he enters mechanical figures attack him and the guard turns into a monster and escapes and fog starts to spread. So he enters again to the castle and reaches the ceiling place and finds it activated. And he hears the voice of Nashitania and the others who arrived and they ask him did you activate the seal? He tells them not me. And then they realize they have been sealed. So Goldoff tries to stop the barrier and pulls the sword but nothing changes, so Aduret tries to stop it using ancient magic from one of the books but he fails, so the princess breaks the panel, and suddenly a little girl appears and tells them why the screaming, and as soon as she sees Goldoff she tells him you are the man I met in the race, right? And you are the princess of Baena. And she looks at Aduret and tells him and who are you? He asks her how did you get here? She tells him I am the princess of the swamp Shamit. So Aduret is surprised that she is one of the 6 braves, so he introduces himself I am Aduret Mayor and I am the strongest man in the world. She tells him am I not supposed to be the strongest? He replies I know you are the strongest in history, but that was before I came. She replies I understand you must be crazy. The most important thing now is that we kill Freemy. So Aduret and Nashitania stop her. She asks them why are you stopping me? You surely know she is the killer of the Braves. And suddenly a woman's voice cuts them saying I am Mora, princess of the mountains. A long time I didn't see you Nashitania and you too Shamit. But we must be calm and lower our weapons so we can think well. And another voice cuts them saying finally you gathered. So Mora says and this is Hans Humpty, one of the 6 braves, and I met him yesterday, and this means one of us is an intruder, because now we are 7, and the forces of good are divided to 6 for 6 braves. So Aduret asks everyone to show the flower mark, and they all have the mark. So Mora says one of us is an enemy because it's impossible to be less or more than 6, so Nashitania says maybe the forces of good decided to make them 7, he tells her impossible. So Hans laughs and tells them don't think too much, the truth is that one of us is fake and surely an enemy to us. So they decide that Aduret and Hans will go out and explore the forest. So they go out, and Aduret asks Hans where are you from? It is the first time I hear your name, what did you used to do? And then they notice they are returning to the same place again. So they return to the fortress, and Nashitania greets them and asks did you find an exit? Aduret replies there is no hope. We must stop the illusion barrier. And he notices they tied Freemy, so he looks at her sadly. She tells him there is no need for pity, and he asks Mora any news. She replies my book did not say how we cancel the barrier, but there are 2 ways. The first is that the one who activated the barrier is the one who cancels it. Second, if the person who activated it dies it will be cancelled automatically, and the one who activated the barrier must be a human. And when it was activated we were all inside the barrier because it is impossible for anyone to enter or leave after it is activated, and that means the one who activated it is one of us. Shamit rushes and says surely free me, she has been with the monster from the start, surely if we kill her the barrier will disappear. Aduret objects and tells her I believe and am sure she is with us. Mora tells them we should introduce ourselves again because I cannot remember you, and please tell me what you were doing until we met, anything that might help us reveal who the fake among us is. So Aduret starts introducing himself as the strongest man in the world and tells them about his upbringing. Hans mocks him and says how many times have you said until now that you are the strongest man in the world? And Mora asks him sternly what does this sentence mean to you? And Shamit says you are stupid because you think you are stronger than me, for example. Nashitania gets embarrassed because of him, and he also gets embarrassed and tells them this sentence expresses me. Hans laughs at him, and Mora asks who will introduce themselves. Nashitania says I will speak. Hans mocks her and says who is this? Goldoff gets angry at him and says Nashitania is the princess of Baena, and normally someone like you is not allowed to speak to her. Nashitania introduces herself, then Goldoff, then Mora who says I knew nothing about the barrier until I arrived here. I heard about it but no one told me the details. And Shamit starts introducing herself and tells about her achievements and her power and that Mora always scolds her because she uses her power for trivial things. Aduret realizes that if Shamit is the fake it will be hard for them to kill her, so he asks her did you meet Freemy before? She replies yes, she tried to kill me but failed. Hans introduces himself and tells them I work as a killer. So everyone starts doubting him. One of the Braves is a killer. He replies the Braves are people who can defeat the monster and intend to defeat the monster. Can any of you object? The world is not a rosy place as you imagine, because many important people in your countries asked me to assassinate specific people, and when the monster first appeared I was in a place near here. So the first thing I did was meet the head of state here, and I bargained with him in exchange for killing the monster, and he was generous, so I took the money, hid it, and came here and met Mora. Goldoff asks him, and the head of state himself was the one who told you about the illusion barrier. He replies, no, he told me that I must visit the fortress only, but I ignored him, and when I met Mora she was the one who informed me. Finally Mora tells Freemy, it is your turn. If you want to stay silent your situation will get worse. Freemy replies, will it get worse than this? And she asks her to remove the cover from her head and eye, and as soon as Mora removes it they are shocked that Freemy has a horn, and her other eye is not a human eye but a monster's eye. So Freemy tells them, I was born from a beast and a human, and their goal was to create a living being that would eliminate the Braves, and I am the result, and my father was human but I do not know him and I do not know why he did that, and I was raised with the monsters who built a castle for the Princess of Gunpowder, which is me, and I became strong as they wanted, and after that they ordered me to set out and execute their plan, and I believed in them although my whole appearance is human. But I considered myself a monster, and I believed that the great monster is a magnificent being. Mora asks her, what changed your mind? She replies, if I told you you would not believe me. Aduret cuts them and tells Mora, you said only a human can activate the barrier, so surely Freemy cannot. Hans tells him, but she is with us here, although the barrier prevents monsters so she can do anything humans do. Freemy tells them maybe Mora is lying too. Shamit and Nashatania object and say, but we also have this information and are sure of it. Aduret speaks to himself and says, if I do not warn them they might suspect me. But the most important thing is to convince them that Freemy is innocent. Freemy tells them, I am not the fake. That is all I can tell you. Shamit tells them, why are you thinking Freemy is the fake? If we kill her everything will be fixed, I am sure. If you want me to torture her until she confesses I will do my best. Hans tells her, no, I am sure Freemy is not the fake. Because if she were the fake, why did she not kill Aduret? It would have been better for her to kill him before coming here, and then we would be only 6. And then her situation would be better because all of us are doubting her now. Aduret objects because she would not have been able to kill me, of course. Freemy tells him, I had many chances to kill him because he was walking ahead of me and I had a gun with a bullet. They mock him. He tells them, embarrassed, I believed in her and trusted her, and that is why I relied on her. Suddenly Nashatania collapses and tells them, I am just a little tired, and fear appears on Goldoff's face. So he seats her and reassures her. Mora asks Aduret to tell her what happened when the barrier was activated. He tells her there was a woman on the ground but I discovered she was a monster. Shamit says, I met her and killed her. Hans laughs at her and says, we could have taken information from her but you are reckless. Mora tells her monsters are loyal beings she would never have spoken. Aduret continues, I went to the door as you asked me. So I found it locked and I blew it up. And then strange constructs attacked me. Mora interrupts him and tells him, I am the one with the key. I think the soldiers did not expect that. And as for the constructs, they are guards created by the rulers to attack the first person who enters improperly. Aduret continues, after I entered the seal was activated, and that is all that happened. Suddenly Nashatania stands and tells him, I am fine. And sorry if I worried you about me. I am up to the responsibility and I will fight, but I just felt a little tired. Aduret tries to tell her anything but he cannot. Hans cuts them and tells Aduret, are you not forgetting something? Because I am a killer and have experience. Are you sure you entered and found the sword in its place in the seal? Aduret gets angry and tells him, I am sure and I am not lying. Hans clarifies his words, as a killer I am very cautious and I fear anything made by the Princess of Seals, and that seal was made by her because she makes her doors and seals in strange ways. Some of her doors if opened do not close again and sometimes change position, and this door for example when it was opened it did not close again. How did someone before you enter and activate the barrier and the door closed and you opened it again and there is no other entrance? So Aduret gets nervous and tells them surely there is another way, or surely someone dug from underground and entered and activated the barrier then closed the hole and escaped. Hans tells him, did he do all that in the seconds you entered? Aduret says surely one of the princesses has a special ability to do that. Mora tells him that is impossible because the seal covers the whole building, and like the door when it opened did not close, any place would have the same. Also the creatures that attacked you were made especially to attack the first one who enters incorrectly, so if someone before you entered by digging or breaking they would have attacked him and not you. He shouts loudly and loses his temper. Surely one of the princesses has the power to do something extraordinary. She tells him calmly, impossible because all of them can destroy it by force but no one can restore it as it was. He says maybe there is a princess of monsters and humans like Freemy but you don't know her. Freemy tells him no, because I am the only one like that. My mother was not a normal monster, she was modified for a long time and there is no other because monsters cannot give birth to a human child. Shamit prepares to kill him, so Mora gets angry at her and says it's too early to judge him. Nashatania shouts Aduret can't possibly be fake. Hans says he was the first to enter the fortress. Who else would activate the barrier? Freemy says very strange how our positions change so fast. Nashatania tells her you will not defend him. He was defending you? Freemy replies I have no intention to save him. Aduret says maybe the one who entered broke the door and made a new door, and when I arrived activated the barrier, and when I broke the door he escaped. Hans laughs at him and says but the last princess of seals who made the fortress died 4 years ago. So Aduret shouts at him you are the fake because all your words are lies. Mora stops him. Unfortunately all Hans's words are true and she died 4 years ago. Nashitania collapses and tells him you are the one lying. He says impossible, I am not lying, this is surely a trap to catch me. Mora asks them what are your thoughts now. Hans says kill him. Nashitania objects, and Shamit says I still suspect free me. Free me says I don't care, do whatever you agree on. Nashitania screams at Goldoff and begs him to help Aduret. So he attacks Aduret who dodges and throws a bomb and drags Freemy and sedates her with a needle and warns them the needle is lethal. If anyone approaches I will kill her. So they back away from him and he moves toward the door and throws a bomb and escapes, but Hans strikes him with his sword and wounds him. So Aduret traps the exit with bombs and tries to get away, and says to himself now no one will believe me, and he feels he will faint but resists and says to himself calmly I must pull the sword and stop the bleeding, because Freemy will wake up any time. But he faints. In the fortress Mora says we can't do anything now because we don't know Aduret's tricks and traps, we must wait until morning. Hans objects and says he will kill Freemy. She asks him to show his mark, and tells him the flower is still whole and that means she is still alive, because when one of us dies a petal of the flower disappears. Aduret dreams of himself as a child talking to his sister that his friend is training to fight monsters. His sister replies so what, you also must train. He says no, I don't like fighting. Then he dreams of the day he went to his master in the mountains and asked him to train him. He refused and asked why you want me to train you. Aduret replies because I want to kill all monsters and the great monster too, to get back what I lost. The master says nothing comes back, live your life and forget. Aduret cries and says but I must become the strongest one in the world and defeat all monsters in the world. The master hits him and orders him to smile and says in the deepest despair you must smile, and when he smiles, he hits him again and says smile more and hits him many times until Aduret laughs madly. Aduret wakes and finds that Freemy treated his wound. He asks her you treated me? She replies yes. He says surely you felt pity for me. She replies don't be silly, I am 99% sure you are the fake but 1% remains. He says I am not fake and I am here to kill the monster. She replies but I am not sure about you. He notices it is cold so he says I will light a fire. He tries with stones but fails. She creates gunpowder in her hands and orders him to light. He asks her why don't you use this power instead of the gun? She replies because it is not that easy. He says today is very cold, is that because of the fog? She replies that is because of the barrier that blocks monsters and cools the air. And when I passed it I was in pain because part of me is monster, but I passed barriers much harder than this. He says I have no idea how someone entered the fortress before me. She tells him no one did because you are the fake. He asks her Hans is the one who said there is no other way to open the door, right? She replies yes, but he is right and Mora agrees with him. He says then that is true, or you and Mora are also lying. And that would mean we are only 4 left, and that is impossible. He tells her we will think together, any one of us could have activated the barrier. The moment I opened the door the barrier activated at the same time, then Goldoff and Nashitania and you were fighting monsters, and Mora and Hans were on their way to the fortress. But we don't know where Shamit came from. Could she with her power enter indirectly? Freemy replies Shamit's power is direct and I fought her before. She can destroy but not repair. He says so now at least we have 2 enemies, one among the 7 inside the fortress and the second sneaked into the fortress and activated the first barrier, and surely both work with the monsters because the monsters threw explosives at the fortress and we all went there, that was their plan. She asks what is the importance of the fake among us? He replies so you all suspect me and kill the strongest man in the world. She tells him I still don't believe you. He ignores her and continues the most important thing more than knowing who the fake is that I must know who the 8th person is. She asks, and you can know alone? He asks himself can I know alone while fighting the 5? And he asks Freemy will you help me? She refuses. He laughs. She asks why are you laughing while your situation is very bad? He replies because I am the strongest among you, and I know the situation is bad, but in despair I must laugh, and I can prove my innocence and know the truth. She tells him you are arrogant. He replies angrily this is willpower, and I don't know who the 8th person is, and who the fake is, and I have no idea how I will escape from the remaining braves. But if I don't laugh that means everything is over. She asks him why you wanted to become one of the braves. He says to himself this is the first time Freemy cares about someone other than herself. He asks her what's the reason for the question, so she answers because you're just an ordinary person, yet you carry many unique weapons. So he asks do you think I'm weak? She replies I didn't say that, but I doubt someone simple like you could be one of the braves. He answers that's because of my master's training since he was a crazy person, obsessed with monsters and killing them, and that's why he lived on a mountain full of strange weapons. If you saw him you'd find it hard to believe. He's human, and he's the one who made me fight this way. I trained every day until I lost consciousness, and I studied and read books all day long, and he taught me to make weapons, poisons, and gunpowder, and I'm very grateful to him because thanks to him I managed to become strong. She says I heard about a master with these traits but I know everyone who trained with him ran away from him. He says except me. She asks why did you endure all that? Surely something happened to take you that far. He tells her when I was a child a monster came to our village, but it was kind to me and my friend, and it calmly said I came to speak with one of the elders. The next day the village elder gathered the people and told us the village would belong to the great monster and its allies, and there was no hope for the 6 braves to kill the monster, and it would be better for us to join them, but the villagers objected, and then the monster asked the elder to kill any objector and present his heart as proof of loyalty. She asks, was that monster with 3 wings? He answers yes. So she tells him he's one of those who rule the monsters and he's the one who forced my mother to do that, and she asks him to continue. He says, my only friend died defending me, and my sister died so I could escape. I was the only one who survived them, but my master told me my friend and my sister are the reason I became strong, because I believed in them and in their sacrifice, and he taught me that a man cannot be strong for revenge but will be strong because he believes in something. She tells him, I'm jealous of you, because you have something you believe in, because the monster who raised me, trained me, gifted me the gun and the power of the princess of gunpowder, abandoned me. I loved her and loved all my monster friends and thought they loved me, and I had a beautiful dog and I don't know where he is now. And once I became strong I killed many for their sake. And I believed I had to work harder than any other monster because I'm special and in a human form, until Shamit flew for me to eliminate her since she's considered the strongest warrior in the world, but I barely managed to escape from her, and I also made a mistake and told her my name, and I escaped from her with difficulty and returned to my mother, who tried to kill me because I failed my mission, and the other monsters I considered my friends didn't care about me, so I fled. But I won't forgive her, not because she tried to kill me, but because from the start she considered me a doll, and pretended to love me. But I decided killing her isn't enough. I must destroy the monster who deceived me so I would serve it, and when I kill it I will tell her regret what you abandoned me for. She asks him, why didn't you doubt me? If you're not the fake you should have suspected me, because I'm the most unpredictable person in the group. That's the biggest reason that makes me suspect you. He replies, I helped you and told you my story even though I didn't tell it to Nashatania because you're like me, you were betrayed by those you trusted and you lost your family, and I don't like to think of you as an enemy. Then he gets embarrassed and nervous and tells her, don't misunderstand, I certainly didn't fall in love with you but I do trust you. She tells him, I'm not like you, you have people you believe in, and now I must return to the fortress because to me you are a suspect, and she gives him a special bullet and tells him if you throw it at anything I will then know your location. It won't make any noise but I will know. And she tells him, next time when we meet again I might kill you, and she leaves. At the fortress when Freemy arrives, Mora tells her, I didn't expect you to still be alive. Where is Aduret? She replies, he escaped and I tried to catch him but the gun isn't with me. So Mora asks her to rest and sleep, and tells her in the morning they will start searching for him. And Aduret thinks and speaks to himself, I have never killed for hatred or revenge, I became strong for a specific purpose, and there's no way I will lose. In the morning Freemy tells them her truth. Mora sympathizes with her, but as usual Shamit doesn't believe her. So Mora shouts at her, we have already confirmed she's one of us. But Hans says, I'm still not sure about her, is it okay to consider her one of us after she was trying to kill us? And he asks her, how couldn't you catch him while I wounded him? She tells him, because you're weak and the wound was minor. He says, but it seems Aduret loves you, because he was defending you. When Shamit said, let's torture you, he got angry at us and objected, maybe you also love him? She tells him, you're a stupid person. He continues, you women are unpredictable, you might say things but do the opposite. So Mora orders him to be quiet, and Freemy asks her, what did you feel when we learned he is the fake? She replies, I wasn't surprised because he was just trying to recruit me to his side. And when we discovered he is the fake I knew the reason he defended me. Goldoff interrupts them and says, the most important thing is that we know what we will do with him and how we will reach him. Hans replies, all Aduret's weapons are here and he doesn't fight without them. If we wait he will surely return. Freemy objects that sitting without a plan is stupidity, because we are trapped here as long as he is inside the barrier. So Mora says we will split into teams, I will go with Freemy and Nashatania with Goldoff. And she orders Nashatania to be strong and not sympathize with him, and Hans and Shamit will be in the fortress so if he returns they can kill him. But Shamit objects, I don't like waiting. Mora replies, switch with Freemy. She objects again, but I don't like walking, so Mora orders her to stay in the fortress. As they get ready to set off, Hans mocks Freemy and tells her, will you be able to kill the monsters? She replies, I kill them easily. He laughs at her and says, and if your mother told you I'm sorry, I love you so much. She answers angrily, then I'd know she is lying again. He contradicts her and says, I'm a killer and I always get assassination requests from people whose families betrayed them, but most requests are cancelled right before the kill because they can't do it. She ignores him and walks away. And Nashatania and Goldoff on their way to search for Aduret. The princess stops and asks Goldoff, do you trust me? He tells her, I trust no one but you. She tells him, I'm sure Aduret is not the fake, and I will try to prove it. I'm sure it's a trap for him. He tells her, I don't agree with you and we can't do that. She tells him, I'm not supporting him because I want to support him, but there's no conclusive proof he is the fake. He asks her, whom do you suspect? She replies, Hans. And Aduret is watching Freemy and Mora, and he concludes they have split up, and he says to himself, that means someone is in the fortress. If one of the 3 pairs has the fake, he might kill his partner and put the blame on me that I killed him. I must return to the fortress. I must find who the fake is and where the 7th person is, and try to get my weapons back. If Nashatania is the one in the fortress, maybe my chance will be better. And he heads to the fortress. As soon as he gets to the fortress, Hans attacks him and tells him, I was sure you would come, and it's better for you to fight me with all your strength or you will die. Aduret tells him, you're an assassin and used to surprise attacks, but how about we fight man to man? so Hans knocks him down from the top of the fortress, and attacks him, but Aduret manages to dodge, and throws a bomb at him. Hans knocks it away from himself, and laughs at Aduret and tells him don't repeat the trick twice, and he rushes him and strikes him, but Aduret manages to get up and hits him and throws a needle at him. Hans dodges it and attacks Aduret and manages to disarm him. He ties him up and tells him your plan isn't bad, claiming you're one of us and trying to make us turn against each other. If I wasn't here you might have succeeded. Aduret tries to speak but Hans tells him surely you're going to say I'm not the fake. Don't bother because you lost when you took Freemy hostage. I thought you were smarter than that. And he asks who are you working for? Aduret answers I have no answer because I'm not the fake. Hans asks is your mother sick, or did they take your lover hostage? Aduret answers I have no family or lover. Hans laughs at him and says that means when I kill you no one will mourn you. Suddenly Aduret pulls a thread in his clothes and a bomb explodes. He tries to escape but the gas from the bomb affects him too. Hans catches up and attacks him, hits him but Aduret manages to slip away and run. Surprised he can still move after inhaling that gas, Hans chases him and attacks. Aduret throws his weapons one by one and takes off his trick belt, then grabs his sword and says let's fight properly. Hans tells him you're planning something surely. Aduret laughs and asks are you afraid? Hans confidently replies yes, I can kill but I don't lie. Aduret thinks to himself my victory now isn't beating Hans but proving I'm not the fake. Hans is looking for the trick and checks everything, my clothes, shoes, and all, expecting the trick from anywhere, maybe calculating distance to the belt I threw. But there's something he doesn't see, the hand holding my sword. Suddenly a hidden blade shoots toward Hans, but Aduret deliberately doesn't kill him and only knocks his sword away. Hans asks why did you choose not to kill me? Aduret says if I were the fake I wouldn't spare you. This was my only chance to kill you, and you didn't see the blade. And he throws his sword. Hans says don't try to trick me. Aduret shouts I'm not the fake, because I didn't kill you, try to believe me, and thinks this is a gamble because if Hans is the fake he'll kill me now. Hans says I believe you. Besides I'm glad I'm the one who waited for you in the fortress because if someone else was here they might have been convinced. Then Hans attacks and says because I am the fake. Aduret can't grab his belt and Hans seems to stab him, but Aduret finds out he didn't actually stab him and he's still alive. Hans says this is the art of illusion, making you think I stabbed you, because I don't trust words or actions but the reaction people show facing death. If you were the fake you'd have panicked when I said I'm the fake, but your face showed you lost the bet in your head. Aduret says first time I learned the fact that a dying man is honest. Hans answers because I'm a killer and have seen it many times. Aduret says thanks for that disgusting fact Hans. Hans says put your belt back on and get ready, from now we're friends and allies, and I used to think you're strange especially when you defended Freemy, but I'm sorry I doubted you. Now we're back to the start who is the fake. And Freemy and Mora reach the place where Aduret had been. Mora says you're truly not lying because he camped here, and asks do you know which way he escaped? Freemy answers no because there's no blood or footprints maybe he climbed trees. Mora says surely Aduret planned everything very well. Freemy answers we just need to search everywhere for him. Mora says we need to think together first before we move. She asks don't you know what his trap was from the start? Freemy asks is this an interrogation? Mora says no I'm not interrogating but after what happened last night you must be careful. We're not doubting you but be cautious. Freemy answers I don't know anything, what I know is monsters are divided into groups. Do you have any info? Are there humans joining monsters? Mora says I heard there's a whole village recruited with monsters, but it's just info with no proof. If I had been careful from the start everything would be fine. Freemy says it's not only your responsibility. Mora is surprised and says I didn't expect you to be kind. Despite what Aduret did he did something good by bringing you to us, even if it was part of his plan. But you're a good person. Freemy says I'm not a child and there's no time to waste we need to move. She asks did I upset you when I talked about him? I know you must be thinking of him because he always stood by you and tried to save you, but don't go easy on him. He's now an enemy and a fake liar. Freemy answers don't worry because I despise him. And the princess and Goldoff are searching for any clue. The princess says this is where we were supposed to gather but Hans and Mora gathered here first. I'm very confused what should I do? And they might kill him anytime. Goldoff interrupts and says Aduret is our enemy. She screams if you don't trust me try to kill him away from me. Then she regrets her words, apologizes and says sorry, I can't believe I raised my voice at you. He asks why do you believe Aduret and not believe me? Even though I spent more time with you, you were much calmer before. What does Aduret mean to you? She says you're the one not focusing. We're in battle and our friends are in danger and the world is collapsing. Of course I can't act calm. Aduret is our comrade. I know your feelings toward me but I think now is not the time. And there's no time to handle your jealousy. He apologizes and says sorry I wasn't thinking clearly. She tells him because you're just a child at 16. But I trust you even though I still feel we don't understand each other. In the fortress Hans searches for any exit or any clue, and Aduret is looking among his weapons for certain ones to take. Hans asks him don't you have anything that detects lies? Aduret yells at him these are all tools to kill monsters. Hans says if you're not the fake and someone else activated the barrier and everything in the fortress is intact, how did that happen? Aduret replies maybe it's an ability of any princess. Hans says Mora said that's impossible. Aduret replies maybe Mora doesn't know anything about that ability, maybe they're hiding their powers. Hans asks if I get killed who do you think they'll target next? Hans answers surely free me. Aduret places a drug on the ceiling platform and notices someone returned. Hans tells him no one came back, you're just imagining. Hans asks Aduret how is the barrier activated, and here Aduret is shocked and deduces that the ones who know how to activate the barrier are Freemy, Goldoff, Nashatania, and Mora, but Hans doesn't know, and none of them know if Shamit can activate it or not. Aduret tells Hans I need to ask Shamit something but you go and ask her. Suddenly he notices a monster outside the fortress and goes out. He finds Shamit playing, and she tells Hans why didn't you kill that fake? Hans stops her and says don't kill him, I found out he's not an enemy to us. She says how? Or better don't tell me, I'm not interested, I'm bored and want to kill him to get out of here. Aduret says I just want to ask you a question to know who the fake is. She says no need because you're the fake, besides I don't care, I'll kill you. And if you turn out a real brave I'll kill Freemy then Hans then the princess and Goldoff, and the fake surely isn't Mora, and then I'll get out of here and kill the great monster alone. And green fluid comes out of her and turns into monsters that attack them. She tells them these monsters live inside me, and she orders the monsters to kill them. They try to run but their number is huge, so they decide to go into the fortress walls which are sealed so monsters can't enter. But the monsters can enter because they're part of the princess. They fight the monsters and each time they cut apart it regenerates. Aduret throws bombs at them. Shamit says I have an idea, if you Hans kill Aduret then you're not the fake and I won't kill you. Aduret gets worried, but Hans reassures him and says I'm with you. Aduret asks him if I die run away. Hans says don't order me anything and shut up. The monsters attack them, and every time they kill one it forms again. So Aduret tells Hans we must target Shamit, and when he tries to attack her the monsters defend and surround her. Shamit laughs at them and says they all think the same way, they all unite to try to defeat me. And as usual everyone fails. Aduret thinks to himself if we keep going like this we will get exhausted and the monsters won't end. And he asks Hans to protect him from the monsters. Hans answers sarcastically my hands aren't free. Aduret says while you protect me I'll think of something. He asks how long can you last? Hans says 60 seconds. Aduret orders him when the 60 seconds end attack Shamit and don't think about anything, I'll be behind you. And he searches his weapons for something to kill these monsters. He throws gunpowder on them and ignites it. Shamit is surprised and tells him you're amazing. And as soon as the 60 seconds end Hans charges and Aduret surrounds him with explosives and needles and wipes out the monsters. Hans manages to reach her but new monsters attack him. Aduret orders him not to dodge and to kill them, and he supports him from behind, until Hans reaches Shamit and strikes her. The monsters disappear, she resists and tries to get up but they tie her. They go into the fortress and Aduret asks her do you know how to activate the barrier? She says no one told me before. Freemy realizes there is a fight because she knows the sound of Shamit's monsters, and she heads with Mora to the fortress. Mora reassures her and says Shamit can't possibly lose, and besides Hans is with her. Aduret and Hans have left the fortress. Hans tells Aduret I knew Freemy is the one who let you escape. Aduret says I need to talk to Freemy. Hans warns him Freemy is dangerous, and since you're not the fake she's the suspect now. Aduret objects and says impossible, it's her, I'm sure. Hans says don't deal with her, because Freemy lived in darkness, learned to love no one and trust no one, and everyone to her is an enemy or will become one, and I get it because I'm also from darkness but my darkness is different, my darkness has trust and friends. Aduret says you're right but I still need to meet and talk to her, most important you take care of Shamit and think carefully about what I told you. And he throws him a tool and says this will be your proof, and leaves, but Hans says Freemy doesn't love you and won't love you, she hates you, so be careful. Aduret walks and throws away the bullet Freemy gave him and wonders does she really hate me? I was starting to feel we understand each other. Suddenly Freemy appears and says I'm surprised you're still alive. He says because I've died many times before. Mora arrives at the fortress and gets angry at Hans because he let Aduret escape and tells him you must be stupid because this was our only chance. Hans says listen to me, I can give you proof of his innocence. Aduret tries to explain to Freemy what's happening. He says the fake tricked us, because the barrier didn't activate when I opened the door, but it was already active. She replies I don't think what you say is true. He says listen to the end, we didn't know how to activate the barrier ourselves. The one who taught us was the soldier in the fort. If he's working with the fake, then he tricked us and there's another way to activate the barrier. You and I and Mora learned from him, and Nashatania and Goldoff didn't know, and Shamit and Hans also, meaning we all learned from the soldier, so if he's lying we can't know. Their plan was the soldier lies to us, and monsters burn the fortress so we all go there. Suddenly fog appears somehow but it's not real. I assumed someone activated the barrier but it was just the fog. Then we all tried to stop the barrier and ended up activating it ourselves, and because I was first inside, it makes me the fake. She asks so Hans is the fake? He says no, the fake exploited Hans's knowledge of doors and seals. She asks why do you trust Hans? He says because I fought him and instead of killing me he believed me. She says anyway but there's a mistake in your story. Princesses can use the powers of good but we have limits, and the only princess who uses fog is the same princess who helped build the barrier, and she would need more than 15 minutes to create fake fog to cover the forest. But the forest filled with fog in a second, which is impossible. She blows up part of the ground and shows seals on the stones, and tells him under the whole forest a huge number of these seals were built for years, so this fog happened in a second. He says maybe she made a real barrier and a fake one. She says impossible because in one place only one barrier works, so your idea is wrong. You're wrong because your assumption failed and besides you're fleeing. Even if you're not the fake, your chance to not be killed is weak. Surely now you'll try to reach the princess because she will help you. You got help from Hans and me and now surely the princess. And she raises her gun and points it at him. He says if I die and I'm not the fake then it's your turn and they will kill you. But as long as I'm alive you're safe. She asks why are you protecting me? In the forest Nashatania says to Goldoff, remember when we were introducing ourselves, Hans the first moment he saw me knew I'm the princess. But when I started to introduce myself he pretended not to know me. Why did he do that? It's not logical. In the fortress Mora says to Hans after he finishes speaking, a duet fooled you simply because you're stupid, and she unties Shamit, and continues because you're the one who said the room was closed before him and that makes you suspicious. He tries to convince her, but she gets angry and says talking to you is useless, I will go search and kill him. He stops her and says I'm sure because if he's the fake why didn't he kill me and didn't kill Freemy and Shamit? She answers because it's a trap, he's attacking your hearts, trying to make you believe him as long as possible. He wants us to kill each other, and you got fooled. And Freemy says to Aduret, I know they can appear at any time but I need to hear you even if it's the last time. Answer me honestly, why are you protecting me and not doubting me, and if you lie I will kill you. He replies because I thought you could never be an enemy, so she threatens him. Then he changes his words and says because you're like me. She says this is your last chance. He hesitates but says because for a long time I tried to be a tool of war and erase my heart completely so I could become the strongest, but I failed because the heart is something I couldn't get rid of. She objects I could easily. He says impossible, you're only trying, but the one thing you can't stop is falling in love with someone. I realized last night that I loved you, and this feeling was there since the first time I met you. At first I ignored the reason for my strange actions, but last night I realized I love you. And I will keep protecting you. She asks why. He answers when you hurt I feel pain too. And even though I'm the strongest man I can't handle that pain. She says but where will I live? I'm rejected by monsters and humans, and someone like me must die. He says you must after your revenge start a new life and I'll handle things as usual and I'm ready to do anything. She answers I understood everything and now you're my enemy, and she shoots him. Mora hears the gunshot and orders Shamit to watch Hans but not kill him and attack him if he tries anything. Mora summons her power and uses the mountains to echo sound through the whole forest and tells them Hans is defeated but critical and Aduret did it, and Aduret is the fake. Kill him without thinking. Hans gets angry at her and says what are you doing? She replies coldly this is what will convince the princess to deal with him seriously. Shamit attacks Hans and tells him you didn't listen. Mora orders her angrily don't kill him, just stop him from interfering. Hans asks her are you the fake? She ignores him and leaves. The princess is in shock and says to herself I was stupid, and laughs bitterly. I went through many things that will drive me mad, but now I'm calm. But this is the first time I'm in this state. I'm angry, but finally I understood. I trusted him but he betrayed me, but naturally in my journey I learn new things, and now I want to taste revenge. And she raises her staff and destroys the trees. Freemy signals with gunpowder so they know their place. He tries to escape but she pursues him. He tells her go back to the fortress and you'll confirm she's lying, but she attacks him without mercy. He attacks her with a needle and hits her. He asks why don't you trust me? She asks why didn't you run, this was your only chance. He answers because I want you to trust me. Answer my question, why don't you trust me? She replies because I know you're lying. I know the truth. Liars say the same words. I'll protect you, I care about you, but I won't trust anyone again. I will kill and live alone and die alone. Better not to trust than to trust and be betrayed. She throws bombs at him. He dodges and thinks she's just afraid to trust anyone, so she decided to hate everyone and treat them as enemies. Suddenly Mora enters and attacks him. He throws bombs at her, and when the fog clears he's standing and hasn't escaped. He surrenders. Mora attacks him but Freemy stops her and says but he surrendered. He kneels and asks Mora is Hans okay? She replies you wounded him, and asks who are you working for? He answers I don't know but I must prove Freemy's innocence before I die. He takes out a reagent and asks Freemy for a bullet and puts the reagent on the bullet and it glows red where Freemy's prints are. He says the reagent reveals monster traces but on the barrier site there are no traces. And Hans saw it himself and has another sample of the reagent. This proves Freemy's innocence, and if you're the fake now I ruined your plan because if I die you won't target Freemy. Mora tells him you're amazing and I would have believed you and that's why I'm afraid of you. I must kill you before anyone else believes you. Aduret asks Freemy after I die go to Hans, he will help you. Mora attacks but Freemy blocks her. Freemy says Aduret I really hate you because I started trusting you, and cries and says I trusted you though I decided not to, but sadly I trusted you. She throws a big bomb and says run. He runs and carries her and says and you too with me. Suddenly Nashatania attacks him with many swords without mercy and says I was grateful for your presence but now it's time to die. And now I'm waiting to see your regret for what you did before I kill you. So Mora says you know nothing about the world, not everyone regrets before dying. So Freemy says run to the fortress. Then Nashatania says I must kill him and attacks him. Freemy defends him. Nashatania increases the number of swords and aims them at him. He tries to escape her, and Goldoff attacks Freemy so Aduret saves her. Then Mora enters and says I will deal with Freemy, you kill Aduret. So Freemy throws explosives at all of them and tells Aduret I will handle them, you run. As soon as he runs, Goldoff with Mora's help manage to bring her down, and Aduret is on his way to the fortress so that Nashitania, who chases him, sees Hans and knows that Mora is lying, and as soon as he arrives he calls Hans but he doesn't come out. Suddenly Nashitania attacks him from every direction and says, what are you looking for, you're the one who defeated him. He tries to escape her in the forest but she multiplies the swords and manages to injure him many times, and as soon as he falls, she says, finally I caught you. I thought you were my friend but you betrayed me and were deceiving me. He says painfully, I am not the fake, I didn't try to kill Hans, it's a trap. And he feels cold and asks himself, why didn't I think about this cold matter? Nashitania grabs her sword and points it at Aduret but he defends himself. She stabs his hand. He hits her and runs. Then Goldoff arrives and runs to her. She tells him kill him. So he chases and reaches Aduret and strikes him. Then Mora and Freemy arrive. Aduret asks Goldoff, do you remember when me and Nashitania were on the way to the fortress? The princess orders him to ignore and kill him. But suddenly Hans and Shamit enter and they see Hans safe. They are shocked and Nashitania gets angry and says to Mora, why did you lie? She replies, so you don't go easy on him. And I can do anything but kill the fake. Aduret apologizes to Freemy for running without her. She says shut up. Aduret speaks and says, do you understand why I am the strongest man in the world? The answer is because I have strength, skill, wisdom, heart and luck. And now we must kill the fake who tried to trap me. And he says you are missing the most important thing, which is knowledge. Fog can be formed by knowledge too, and that's by raising the temperature, and the humidity in the forest is very high, and that's what the missing sun princess did, the one Freemy denied killing. She is weak because of her age but she is the strongest princess. So the plan was they kidnapped her and forced her to help, and she raised the temperature for a long time in the forest, and that's why it was so hot on the road, and the soldier was their ally and gave us wrong instructions. And because we all learned from the soldier, and whoever didn't learn from the soldier didn't know anything at all. So no doubt we all don't know the real method. Then monsters attacked the fortress to direct us there. And that was the signal to kill the sun princess. Then the temperature returned normal and the fog formed. And we believed the barrier activated, and inside he activated the barrier without us noticing. And because I was the first to enter, I was the suspect. Mora asks, what's your proof? Hans continues and says I will continue, and looks for the princess's corpse because it will be the only proof. And he notices a huge monster and asks who killed it. Everyone replies it's too huge, if someone killed it he would never forget. Hans opens the monster's body and finds the princess's corpse. Mora recognizes her and collapses beside her and says you must have planned all this? Freemy objects and says if it was a trap he could have said this from the start because we almost killed him many times. Mora says I was wrong, you are certainly not the fake. Aduret smiles and says to himself luck was my friend this time because I didn't know the princess's corpse was here. Shamit asks who is the fake person. Aduret looks at Mora, then Nashitania asks Freemy to take care of Aduret, and asks Mora are you aware of your situation? Mora asks what is the proof? She replies there is no proof but you are the only suspect now. Aduret says to himself I am sure Freemy, Hans, Nashitania and Shamit are not fakes, and it's hard someone like Goldoff is fake. But Shamit objects and says not Mora because me and Hans found evidence in the fortress. I dug under the ceiling platform. Hans yells at her but that's my idea. Don't take credit, she says, but I'm the one who dug and found it after big effort. Aduret gets angry and says fight later but now explain this. Hans says the person who built the platform was very careful and put under it the activation and cancellation method. It says to activate the barrier you must remove the sword and destroy the slab and summon the barrier. He asks who destroyed the slab. Shamit answers the slab was destroyed when I arrived and Aduret was there then. He remembers that first was Goldoff who pulled the sword and then I cut my hand with the sword to make a trick in the magic book. Then Nashitania destroyed the slab. He is shocked and says impossible, surely not Nashitania. Hans says I suspected Goldoff but didn't expect the princess. Nashitania says innocently I broke the slab but didn't know that would activate the barrier. She turns to Aduret and says say something, defend me, I didn't do that. But Aduret remembers the first to reach the fortress will fall in the trap and Nashitania asked him to go there to save the guards from monsters. He gets tense and says but the truth is it's you. She laughs and says I give up, I am the fake. Goldoff collapses. She continues I tried to succeed but Aduret was more skilled than me but that's my fault. I knew there was a backup of the teachings but didn't know it had the barrier activation method. I should have studied more. I can't believe I couldn't defeat even one but now at least I will defeat two of you. But I was too lenient. I tried to get close to Aduret to kill him or order Goldoff to kill him but failed because I thought you're stupid but you proved otherwise. But I expected Hans to be a tough opponent and that's true, he exposed me in the end. Mora asks why did you do all this? She says because I got tired of asking you for everything and for you to save me. Goldoff says what are you trying to do, I always help you. She replies if you listened to everything I said without objection maybe I would have told you the truth. Shamit asks why you wanted to kill us. She replies because I want real peace between humans and monsters and to do that the great monster must return. So I have to kill you. If you help me I can convince the great monster not to kill humans because I love humans and monsters both. My goal is to make monsters change their way and try to deal with humans. There is risk but not big, and sure there will be some victims but a very small number, just 50,000. They all are shocked by the number and how she treats it as small. Aduret orders them to attack her. As soon as they cut her head she disappears and turns to mud, and the smell of apples comes out. Mora knows from the apple smell that this is a monster technique and a very high technique. They hear Nashatania's voice saying to Goldoff, sorry but you can't be with me. And she says to free me and you can understand each other because you are half monster. They chase the voice and Free Me stays with Aduret. Aduret collapses and says I doubted everyone except her, I still can't believe. Free Me tells him you must shut up and rest because you lost a lot of blood, I must treat your wounds. He says you became much kinder or you were kind from the start, but this is the first time I see this look on you. She says I hate you because when I'm with you I love life. He loses consciousness. When he wakes up he is in the fortress with Mora. She says sarcastically sorry I'm not Free Me and assures him his wounds are healed and apologizes for suspecting him. He says the important thing is you apologize to the others. Hans says she already apologized. He asks what happened to the barrier. Hans answers it broke when Nashatania disappeared. He asks are you all okay? They answer yes, all okay except Goldoff not speaking. Mora tells him if you didn't intervene and solve the puzzle we could have died one after another. You really deserve to be the strongest man in the world. Usually I mocked you but you were right. Hans says and no thanks to me. She says you also did your part. He gets mad and says but Aduret's words are better. Aduret says if not for you finding the instructions we wouldn't have discovered Nashatania, and you are truly amazing, I never met someone so reliable like you. Aduret leaves the fortress and goes to Free Me, who when she sees him is surprised, then says I'm sorry your favorite girl turned out fake, don't talk to me. Then she speaks seriously, I don't know how to deal with you. He says I need to know two things, first will you fight with us or continue alone? She says I gave up and will continue with you. He says second, do you really feel you love life when you are with me? She gets shy and says unfortunately that's true. He takes her and they return to the fortress and the 6 heroes gather. They are interrupted by a distant voice of a woman named Lornia apologizing for being late. Aduret asks what are you doing here? She says I haven't met you in a long time. Free Me gets upset. Lornia says sorry I didn't introduce myself, I'm the Blood Princess and one of the 6 heroes. They are shocked because now they are 7 again. And Gimber's chief arrives alive and the soldier had lied. He says I heard what happened and I'm glad you're safe, but I have a report. All the monsters are heading to the Great Monsters Land, about 2,000 and will arrive in hours. Lornia says I think we should retreat. Shamit objects, I won't retreat, I can kill them all alone. Mora says Shamit is right, the greater the danger the more the fun. Gimber's chief asks why are you 7? Aduret says we won't gain anything from talk and asks Gimber's chief allow me to ask you to stay in the fortress and activate the barrier after 30 minutes. He talks to the team and says I'm the only one you're sure is a true hero, so I will lead the team. They agree and move out. On the way Free Me says are you sure about going to war while you have an enemy? He replies no time to waste. Lornia joins and says you're not fully recovered, I can help because I'm the Blood Princess, just hold my hand. He refuses, says I'm fine. She grabs him by force. Free Me gets angry and steps away. When they reach the monster land, Gimber's chief activates the barrier. Aduret tells them our path is hard, full of danger and thousands of monsters we must reach, and we won't leave without killing the monster we and the 7th hero.